Yeah, the information didn't get out there, which was really fucking strange. But people still finding it anyway. I fixed it this morning. But anyway, you're talking about, oh yeah, the Tonight Show is the dead stay where you put them. Um, it's the opening act has to do with some popular and unsolved. Uh, there's an alien case, a demon case, and a ghost case. But the remainder, the meat of the show, is there's been some extremely bad things that have been going on in cemeteries here lately, and it's kind of in my wheelhouse to talk about that kind of thing. And this isn't spooky stuff. Now, you know, you hear people talk about cemeteries. They talk about, you know, spiritual aspects, grieving, stuff like that. And well, we may talk a little bit about grieving, but we're definitely going to talk about the people behind the cemeteries, people who run the cemeteries, and some stuff we really need to think about before we actually put our loved ones in those places. Because for some strange reason, one of the things that brought me back to Paranoid Times. Now, I had this woman, I know two women out west, northwest, let's just put it that way. I'm not going to say where they live. But while I was off, now keep in mind, I know these people. I was pre-med with one of them. Knew the other one's husband from something else. I'm not going to say on here. But they own a graveyard. One owns a graveyard in one place, another owns a graveyard in another place. The odds of you having two friends that own graveyards is a little high, believe it or not. And the odds of this happening to both of them is pretty fucking high. Well, anyway, sometimes the police will come out and they will give you an exhume order. And this exhume order tells you that you have to dig up so-and-so so they can inspect the body to see if there was a crime after the fact. Or maybe the family wants to move the body. Or maybe the family wants to have some kind of DNA test done. But in most cases, in most states, the only way an exhume order gets approved is through the court by warrant, and it's got to be for a crime. Well, I mean, you know what I'm saying? There's not supposed to be people out there digging up bodies. Now, both people I know, they are the managers of these cemeteries. They own these cemeteries, family. And they called me up at different times through the year before I started Paranoid Times back and told me that they have had exhume orders and that they went to go exhume the body and the body was not there.
Wait, Mom, wait!
There has been other cases in the same areas where they don't even believe there's any bodies in the cemeteries. Now, I don't know why that's happening. I don't know if somebody's not burying them, but there's video, there's pictures of people being buried. They go through a whole process when they bury somebody. But there's definitely people missing from the ground. Now, is this a supernatural thing? No, I don't think so. Is this something to do with government? I don't know. Is this something that is spectacular? Absolutely. But anyway, that's the meat of the story. I got a whole bunch of cases that, like I said, there's something else that just happened. And it actually involves moths, believe it or not. And a real big investigation into a cemetery. And anyway, we will go over those tonight. And if you got a loved one in the graveyard, you might want to go check on them. But anyway, tonight is a live call-in show, by the way. If you do call in, either I'll have to translate for Tuck because he is with us, or he'll have to hang up and call back. But it doesn't matter about all that. If you guys want to call in and talk, go ahead. I am still working on the whole connectivity thing, but I do know the audio. I do know part of it works. Tuck's side works. Your guys' side work. I just haven't figured out how to connect you two. Plus, I'm still waiting on some gear that's been stuck in Indianapolis. It's whatever.
Maybe I need a call-in number, and then that way I can be part, like kind of like a group call, and then you just like add and remove people.
Well, do they still have those things? Well, I have another thing. I have a thing where.
Oh, you can do it with Google Voice, I believe.
I'll have to check on that. I don't know. I thought maybe you could do like some kind of party call or something with Google, where you have like multiple people on the thing, but I don't know. The only other way is to like set up a call box here at the house.
Or you could do Zoom.
Well, no, I mean, like I said, you're in Works. You're in connects to it. They're in Works. It's just that there's just something blocking.
But we got to be on the same medium, though. That's the thing. I think that's why, because you can't go from Google Voice over to Messenger. It's not going to translate. There's no code. There's no patches.
Well, according to Prism, and according to Google, there's a way to do it. I haven't figured it out yet. Still working on it.
Google figured a way out to do it then, apparently.
But you know,
if it ain't told you, then they don't know.
Yeah, I mean, well, they gave me these detailed dildo. Now they gave me these detailed instructions on how to do this, and I have followed these detailed instructions over and over again, and I got all of the other stuff. That was on the software side, but now, since I can't get that to work the way I want it, I got the hardware stuff coming. Should be here in a few. Well, it should be here next week sometime. But like I said, it's not. And then there's also some company that wants me to sponsor like one of their expensive mixers. I don't. I don't know.
A mixer? What kind of mixer?
I don't know. It's kind of like the audio thing that I use here now.
Oh, that kind of mixer. I'm thinking like a fucking like a KitchenAid.
Fuck no, I don't cook on there. Now, Gassy does. From the Gas Mask Chronicles, he cooks on there. One of his unreleased trailers is was him pumping gas in a gas mask naked, and the other one was him cooking naked. So, yeah. But let's put it this way: Gassy has a much better body than I do. I'm not gassy if you're wondering. But
sound check.
Like I said, you guys can call in. Tonight's topics are, like I said, aliens, ghosts, and demons. And of course, we're going to talk about cemetery. During the cemetery portion of the show, if you want to call in, we call it your breaks, but I'd like to get through it as fast as possible.
I just had a subscriber, or not a subscriber, but a comment in one of my videos of a guy saying that he spent 4 years sleeping in a fucking cemetery.
There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, I used to sleep right beside one. I mean,
I talked to the creepy dude that I met that I met when I was on the Florida Trail going into the Wilton Hilton. On his way back from Tallahassee, because he couldn't find anywhere to stealth camp, he fucking did. He told me how creepy it was. So a guy to do it for 4 years, and then I've done it, and it's fucking creepy.
I used to live out in like a redneck portion of a little town, and this was like their trailer park area, and I lived out there, right beside the trailer that I was shacked up in for a number of reasons. There was a cemetery, like literally right by out. You could walk out back my bedroom, my back bedroom, open a window, look and see a cemetery. You can look out my kitchen and see a cemetery. There's all you go out my front porch, you look to the right, you see a cemetery. You know, but he's right on top of one. And I never had any issues there. You know.
Well, you grew up you were next to it, so you probably like developed a tolerance to it. But the average person, it's like the first time you fucking eat monkey brains.
Have you ever had monkey brains?
Nope, that's why I said it.
Well, you should
Because I know if I did, I'd have to plug my nose, close my eyes, and think of somewhere nice.
Oh, they don't stink.
No. I'm just worried about my gag reflex.
Yeah, they don't stink. They don't have an odor like that. I would rather eat monkey brains than eat seaweed grapes. There is you get them in this tin, and you take them out of the tin. You mix water with it, and they kind of like swell up, and they kind of remind you of grapes. I mean, that is the best way to explain it. They kind of remind you of grapes, and they have this weird, slimy, salty taste to them.
Ugh.
And it's just not one that I much care for.
Dude, I can't. I can't eat anything squash, and I just tell people because it's easier just to tell them that I'm allergic to it. But there are certain foods with certain textures that it doesn't matter. Like you can tell me to eat it, but it's just the texture in my stomach right back out. Okay, and that's why I don't eat squash or zucchini or anything else like that because it's too fucking slimy. It's just the texture in my mouth just ugh.
Yeah, I'm trying to fix my mics. Look here, messing with them. Always messing with the fucking mics. Alright. I'm going to get me another mic arm. I think that's one of the things I got to get. Honestly.
A what?
Another mic arm. A boom.
Why do you have so many mics?
I'm like really anal about like my voice. I mean, it's like I always have been. It's like I have to get a certain. I mean, throughout this whole thing. If you stick around for a couple of years, I will once again improve and work on the mics as I go. And I mean, I literally have like $1,000 mic over here in my drawer. I mean, that's not up yet. I don't know, I'm just crazy about mics and audio and getting this certain sound that, I don't know, it's in my brain.
You know what? After all the shit I've dealt with sound, yeah, I'm anal about it, but I can't do it. I want, and I've been looking for one. I want to find me a lav mic that is Bluetooth and that I can actually calibrate the sound using an app on my phone. See, most of them are just like self-calibrating, and you're fucked with whatever you get. I want something that I can calibrate because, like, I get echoes in certain areas and stuff like that, and I need to really work on the reverb without having to pay, all kinds of money for, software that'll take that out for me.
Now, I mean, there is one that you can get, and I mean, I have one here, and it's kind of like 4 phones. This one's been modified for like street conversations, but it's heavy. I mean, like in your case, I don't think I would want to have this in my backpack. I mean, it's not like super heavy, but it's definitely going to add a pound or two.
I had the Rode Mini, and I had it set up with the old iPhone with the Lightning port. And as soon as they went to the C port, I went and sold it at a pawn shop because I wasn't gonna pay to recalibrate everything I had.
This other one, this is I think it's Samsung, something like. And you just all you do, you got a switch on the top. You can switch it between 3 different types of mics, and there's another thing where you can edit out audio. You can even plug headphones into it. if you want to monitor your show. So, like how I'm actually supposed to do this podcast, I'm supposed to have a monitor in my ear so I can hear myself talk, but that drives me absolutely batshit.
I can't do that.
And
I've tried.
I mean, I have it set up over here. I have like Bluetooth compression going to a laptop, and the laptop arranges and modifies my feedback. But
I think I think you got too much going. Like, I think that you could probably simplify it through less hardware, and have something way more efficient. And just kind of like, just kind of split it up. Not. I don't know. I think that there's probably a simpler way to get that set up.
Well, when it comes to the audio device, it's not. And then when you actually bring in, see, I haven't started using it yet. I have a boss over here. And the boss is sitting right beside Charlie in front of the webcam, and it is about a 1.5 feet, 2 foot long, by a foot wide, covered with switches, buttons, pedals, and modifiers. And this allows for, like, if I have somebody that comes over to get on the podcast, or if I have somebody that wants to do something else, or if I have somebody that wants to play music, or if my son wants to jack in with a keyboard or whatever, I mean, he can do all that. And I have the ability to modify my voice in such a way where I don't know how to explain it. You probably wouldn't notice it. Like if you went to another one of my channels you didn't know was mine. I mean, I would sound like somebody else. This is how I normally sound.
Okay.
But they're like, for some things, it's pure cinema. So I got to do.
You like to do? Yeah, I get it. That's your thing. I just kind of was thinking you would have a simpler setup. You only need like maybe 2 mics, one for a guest, one for you.
I did to begin with.
Limbaugh.
I did to begin with. Honestly, I mean, and I had it was so simple. I mean, it was so simple, and it worked, and it was fine, and it was, I don't know, shit just got weird,
like preppers in their gear, you just got into audio and just kind of went nuts on it, huh?
Yeah, one of them, and hell, the actual speakers and the monitor speakers that are in the bottom under this fucking computer is crazy. Like, I mean, I just dumped a lot into it. I mean, over the time that I was, originally doing Paranoid Times and some of the other things.
Well, yeah, you were doing high quality stories and stuff like that.
And I mean, so. I was working on the and plus I wanted something my kids could use to play a game if they want to, or I could play a game, and I mean, it still plays every game out there. That's a lot to say when you have talking about computers in this world, nowadays, because they want to charge you fucking $8,000 for a GPU.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Well, what are you getting, like a fucking terabyte?
That's not a terabyte. No. That'd be hard to. No, this is like the new NVIDIAs. Okay, well, first off, I don't expect you to know because you have not had any care or need for a fucking desktop.
I built desktops.
No, I'm talking about you don't have a need or care for a desktop where you are and what you're doing. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay. I know you build them, and I mean, but a lot of people in our generation build them. I mean, mess with them to some degree. But I mean, the things that were normally cheap in a computer were RAM and hard drives to some degree, and then you had the GPU because of the data centers and the AI and everything else. Well, that has sent that stuff skyrocketing. DDR3 and 4. Well, I say it's DDR4. DDR5 is getting ready to come out, but DDR4. What used to cost $100, you can buy a car for it now.
Holy.
Yeah. So I mean, it's up there, and the actual GPUs are just batshit. I mean,
and this is why the gamers are pissed off.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm going to admit it, and some of the people that do stop by the channel do know what I get up to sometimes when I probably been doing other stuff. But I'll go to these gamer channels, and I'll go to some of these gamer things, and I will goat them and troll them, and I will. Oh God, I don't know. I have so much fun to do it, man. I mean, I'll get locked in, and I will go in there, and I'll start fucking with all these gamers. I'll just get locked in and start doing it. I will tell them to go outside and touch grass and all kinds of stuff. It's some of the most unhinged stuff that, yeah.
Okay. But yeah, a troll gets in your head real easy.
Huh?
But yet you let the trolls get to you.
I do, and most people do. Like most people get like that. I mean, like there's certain things, it's like, everybody has their thing. Everybody. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter who it is. True. Everybody has their thing. And that's the reason why either I know somebody's really lucky, or they know who I am, or they have been watching me long enough and follow me around the internet long enough to know what gets me. And so, there's all, and like I said, I mean, someone can come in and say something, and it will bother the absolute hell out of me. Yeah. And I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, my trigger for the only thing I can withstand trolls until they start talking about Sam. Then you fucking then it's on like Donkey Kong.
Hold on a minute. Oh, I was trying to call the kitchen. I'll be right back. Oh, jeez. I need some more coffee.
Well, for those of you that are still listening, I'm Friar Tuck. Okay, he's back.
I'm sorry. We got some new coffee.
Oh, where'd you get it from?
I told you, this is the one from Starbucks.
I thought you were gonna get something different.
Well, no, this is kind of different. This isn't what most people get. This isn't. There's Starbucks and there's Starbucks, okay? And there's the amount there's the amount people get. There's the amount normal people get, and there's the amount that this household gets.
Yeah, but the problem with Starbucks is they over roast and burn their beans.
No, you can get it modified. You can get it, but we get 20 pounds of coffee at a time. We go through 20 pounds of coffee a month. Most people only go through about 16 ounces of coffee a month. But we drink about 20 pounds of coffee here a month on a good day, on a good month. On a bad month, we go through more. I mean,
who's all drinking coffee?
Me, for the most part. I mean, I go through some fucking coffee, dude.
How many pots a day?
I don't even know. I mean, I've gotten smaller machines and tried to use it. I got like a professional double boiler in the kitchen. I got professional espresso machines. I got the smaller one. Something popped up here.
So you need more coffee for some of that specialty stuff, though.
Oh no, you need less. Yeah.
Well, don't you I thought you used like a full scoop and then
No. You
you
grind.
only get like a shot.
We do grind. We do grind only. I mean, we don't always use Starbucks, but for the most part. Plus, there's an affordability factor there too, because you're getting 20 pounds of coffee, and it costs a lot of money if you're not careful. I mean, if you buy 20 pounds of coffee, if you go to Walmart right now and price out 20 pounds of coffee, you're looking at spending, $300 or $400 in freedom seeds. If you do it the way we do it, then we cut our costs down to, somewhere in the $90 to $100 range. So
That's not bad.
I mean, and I have. But anyway, there was a special kind of coffee that was out. It was old age Guatemala, roasted, or not roasted, but aged in Knob Hill barrels, or whiskey barrels.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So, this isn't something. I mean, there's no way in the world they sold this at their main stores, because when I opened up one of the bags, when we get it, it comes in these 5-pound bags of coffee, and there's 4 of them in a case. And when I opened up one and I filled up one of the hoppers, it smelled like a brewery in my kitchen, and it does here in the house. And when you brew the coffee, it smells like a brewery. But man, it's so good. Back when I was younger and I used to go hunting, I would make my coffee, and I'd take my wild turkey and I'd pour in it, and I'd drink it up in the woods. And I got a real taste for fucking whiskey. I mean, or bourbon or whiskey and coffee. But
does it give you a buzz?
does the coffee get no? Well, I mean, if you put real alcohol in it, yeah. I mean,
Oh no, I was thinking this 'cause it smells like a brewery. It tastes like a brewery.
you would swear up and down it's loaded with alcohol, but I don't think it is. I mean, I might be wrong, but I don't know. I mean, I haven't tested it. I
It
mean,
might just be the syrup or whatever.
yeah. I mean, I think it was the barrels, gave it the smell, but it's infused. It is definitely infused. Um, you know, so I'm not sure where we are now. Okay. The Brooklyn Bridge abduction. November 30th, 1989. Lower Manhattan. 3 in the morning. A woman named Linda Nepopoulos, must have been Italian, a New York housewife, that supports the fact, woke up to find 3 gray figures standing in her bedroom on the 12th floor of her apartment building. She became paralyzed. Then she floated through a closed window in a white nightgown up into a craft hovering above her building. They experimented on her. Then they took her back. Hold on a second. Now, every single person here has heard an abduction story. Your grandparents, your mother, your sister, your brothers, people you've come in contact with all your life. Somebody has had an abduction story. Somebody has been told you at some point, maybe even a stranger, that they've been picked up by aliens and taken up and given the old probe. I mean, I'm sure Tuck may have been given the probe out there somewhere before.
No, I ran away. Cartman was the one that was too slow. He's the one that got the anal probe.
I mean, why do they gotta make it all homophobic though? I mean, if someone starts talking about alien abduction and stuff like that, you meet somebody out in public and you're talking to them about it, and I mean yep,
They poked me in the butt.
Yeah, I mean, they just go right for that. I mean, it's like, And can you imagine if they, if they do show up or something and they're floating and flying around and you have that one guy that walks by everybody and says, "I told you, they're here to probe you." I mean,
but do you think that they lathered him up and just like use that as like the hole in the ball for like human bowling, in between experiments?
You really want me to? You want me to? Do you really want me to explain how I think that alien lubrication
I don't know
works?
if I want to find the medical procedures, but I'll take the cartoon version.
Here's the cartoon version. Imagine a whole bunch of little fingers, little tiny fingers, made out of nanotubes and creatures. I don't know. I mean, just a bunch. And they go in. They go in the crevice, and they spread around, and they slowly pull it open, and then they insert the probe.
So you're getting fisted.
I guess. I mean, that's the way I see it.
You got a bunch of fingers.
If I was going to make the movie, that's what you'd see.
Yeah, basically, Marvin the Martian fucking, fisting Susan.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna, yeah, it's gonna happen. But laugh about it now, but at night you're gonna think about it anyway.
Yeah, that'll be one thing. Next time you hear the name Susan, you'll just think about her getting fisted by Marvin the Martian. I kind of mess with my subscribers, and so I come by Hancock, and I'm like, a cock in the hand is worth two in a bush. So I don't know. I thought it was funny, but apparently nobody else did.
Yeah.
But now every time I say Hancock, at least one person says two in a bush.
Someone in chat said, I'm pretty sure that's a porno. But I mean, it might be. That might be where I picked it up from. Hell, I don't know. But I mean, that's the image that I see in my head. Now,
it's not a porno; it's Japanimation.
Anime. I'm not big on anime, so it have to be, realistic. I mean, I got this image pretty much seared in my head, so
My best friend and I in high school used to go down to this little video shop, and we're basically his only customers. We got things on credit. We started. My buddy started us on anime, and we ended up on porn like by the end of the year. But we started off with anime, man, dude. They are fucking creative.
Oh, they are. Yeah, they are. I mean, and that is one. I mean, anime is so popular.
And they got a thing with octopuses.
Well, yeah, octopus porn is another thing, but anime stuff is so wild right now. It has been increasingly. The people, the younger generation, our generation, some of our generation. I mean, the two things prove it now. One, we have a company selling an energy drink called Goth Girl Spit, and
Goth Girls what?
Goth Girl Spit. It's an energy drink, and the company that's selling it, they are sold out completely.
Are you fucking nuts?
Yeah, oh no, there's a whole thing about goth girls.
I like goth girls too, but I ain't gonna buy your spit.
And the other thing, I'm sorry. Well, the other thing is, now this isn't really pornish, but at Comic-Con, everybody knows what Comic-Con is.
Yeah.
Okay, where they sell comics and comic movies and stuff like that. They have these things set up where there are women who are dressed in anime outfits and they're soaking their feet in fruit punch and selling that. It's called Anime Girl Punch.
Oh dear God, have the boys gotten that hard?
Yes,
you
they have.
The average boy is now a virgin until 27.
Huh?
The average boy now is a virgin until 27.
Yeah, I mean, guys are I mean, the whole thing. I think it's like all the weirdness that's been going on. I mean, I do. We went through a thing where guys really went after women, and they knew how to treat a woman. They knew how to behave around a woman. They knew how to do the things they did. And then there was, you know, certain elements within the crowd that either didn't like the fact, or I'm not going to say what they are, but it could, they really cause some serious damage to, masculine ideas. And a lot of people this is a big issue. I mean, men's mental health is not talked about that much.
Yeah.
And it's not looked at the way it should be. And I can get that. One person don't know what the other one's thinking, and I mean, I guess the only way for a man to experience that is actually being in a gay relationship. But still, I don't know. I don't know, but what I do know is that we should really look at how we do certain things, and that probably is explaining why most men, or most boys to men, whatever, are still virgins at 21 or 25 or so forth.
It has a lot to do with the MAGTOW movement and what is this, like, fourth generation women's lib. It's gotten to the point to where, men cannot trust women because they do devious and do devious shit. Like what happened to me. That's the second time that's
it goes
happened.
both ways, though. I'm going to play devil's advocate for women too, because there's women can't trust men, men can't trust women. It's a story as old as the tombs themselves. And
But here's the thing, though.
I know, but
Mothers raise sons, and so if the mom herself isn't put together, then how is she ever going to raise a healthy son?
But see, after generation of generation of generation, that doesn't matter anymore. That becomes the acceptable feature of the programming. So now you got to figure that out. The problem that we have as a society, this is the framework. The framework. This is one of the problems we have as a society, and you see it everywhere. You see it in everything. See, if you have kids and you teach your kids, and you believe a certain way and they believe it, and there's a group of you that believe that certain thing, and you keep on saying it, that doesn't become an issue anymore. It becomes a feature. And if other people don't like that, then they have to figure out a way to work around that feature. There's no fixing it.
Exit altogether.
Yeah, or exit altogether. There's no. I mean, and that is basically the premise behind what a lot of us worried about. What they were doing in school, they were indoctrinating.
Well, the thing
this becomes a feature, and we become the old guys on the porch that start screaming, "Get off our lawn!"
Yeah, but you've also got to look at the change in which, if you look at a woman and you go up to a woman, what is she and you ask her, what does she have to offer? She grabs her TNA and fucking and points to her mouth. It's like, and then they say, don't objectify me. Well, you just objectified yourself.
Well, I'm not
and
saying.
Then all of a sudden
I'm not
you're
saying.
a guy,
I know, but you and we also as men have a habit to look at women in the sense that
it's our primal instinct.
Yeah, I know it's primal instinct. But we listen to the loudest woman in the room.
Yes, and the thing is, the woman wants the attention, so she does it for the attention, and then wonders why guys have no respect for her. See, if you show a man a pair of tits, it doesn't matter if he's gay or straight. He's going to stop and go, tits,
Yeah, I know.
So, I mean, the thing is there are certain things that we are wired for no matter what. And if you want to play against that and then play victim, then
that's of course. But I mean, and they do it, and men do the same thing. And
West Coast men. I agree because West Coast men are the deviant men. It's usually the liberal men that are the predators or that are the victimizers and all this other shit that most of these women talk about. But that's because they themselves have gone so fucking far left that they got to go find fucking guys that are pretending to be sissy boys because that's the only way they can get fucking laid. But in reality, they want to stand up and be a real man. And so then these women are like, oh my God, he's supposed to be like this fucking toy poodle, and he's not.
Yeah. I don't know. The world is a very weird place. Fuck, we not even started talking about demons yet, but Tuck is talking about West Coast, and if you go out there and you look at video from there, and you have people, and we're going to see it in Virginia here too, and we're going to see it other places. You're going to see, like these individuals that are. I saw men dressed up as women. I saw men dressed up as women who were acting like demons.
Did you go to a pride parade?
No, this was just normal everyday thing. Like people
Yeah,
walking up and down the street, man. I mean, this was painful to watch.
Dude, that's every day in Portland. Since like 2010.
Hollywood will make your stomach hurt, man. Hollywood will make your stomach hurt. You're down there, and like I don't know the amount of what's the word I'm looking for? Deplorable, but the what people will do to get into Hollywood, how they will put themselves out there. And I mean, Hollywood is a good social experiment, historical social experiment. If you look back through, if you guys remember the story, Charlie come from fucking Hollywood, come from a two-story Victorian mansion there in Hollywood that was owned by an old woman who was an actor or actress herself, and her friends, which was popular in Hollywood at the time, would all gather around and have seances and play on the Ouija board, and old Charlie here would be right there with them.
People always do that type of stuff, though, and the fucking more money they have, the weirder they get.
No, yeah. Yeah, okay, yeah, I get that, but I mean, but it's like I don't know. It seems like the more money you have, the more the more power you have, the more you are drawn into bringing something in this world that shouldn't be here.
Are you sure they're bringing it into the world, or they're just manifesting it in themselves?
That would be the same thing.
But it was already there, so
yeah, my Charlie. Yeah, okay. I told the story a few times. I mean, and there's one on the channel as well. When I got Charlie, like right after I got Charlie, I posted the story out there, told it, and then throughout, the years of doing this, I've spoke about it quite openly, and I mean, I have Charlie's Ouija board, the one he was sold with, and it's an old one. I mean, it's like way back then. I actually thought about using it as a prop for one of the movies. I mean, that was the idea with Charlie. Charlie was intended to be like a mascot for the channel and like a prop for a couple of skits. And he just, like, I don't know, he come in, we really got attached to him, and, he earned his place, and he stayed out of the box. So Charlie's, either had a place on a shelf looking over everything, or he's been with me when I'm working, and he's here now. I mean, But yeah, I don't know. That's memories. But anyway, we go back to abductions. Most of them fall apart under scrutiny because there are only witnesses. The only witness is the person that it happened to. However, this case about this woman is different. Really different. 2 security guards, later identified as government protected or protection agents. I'll say that again. 2 security guards, later identified as government protection agents, sent a letter to a UFO investigator, Bud Hopkins. They said they had been parked under the FDR Drive that night on duty when they saw a woman in a white nightgown floating out of a high-rise window and into a craft above the city. They wrote, and I quote the spirit of it, "We can't live with ourselves for not helping her." They didn't know Linda. They didn't know each other's names at first. And they weren't the only ones. 23 people ultimately came forward to say they saw the same thing. 23 people. Independent witnesses. People that didn't know each other. People who had never talked to each other. 23 witnesses witnessed the same event on the same night over the Brooklyn Bridge. When Linda got an x-ray afterward, a foreign object was lodged inside her nose. The doctors told her it was probably left over from a prior surgery. She had never had surgery anywhere near her nose. And during what she described as a follow-up encounter, the object disappeared. The x-rays show the before. Nothing shows the after. Just a scar where something used to be. Linda is still alive. She is in her late 70s. She is still telling the story. She was so upset by a 2024 Netflix documentary that suggests she might be lying. She sued Netflix and won.
No.
That's not the behavior of someone who made something up for attention 35 years ago. That's someone who knows what happened to her. Nobody has ever explained the 23 witnesses. Nobody has explained the object in her nose. Nobody has explained how a woman in a white nightgown was seen floating through the sky over the most densely populated cities on Earth at 3 in the morning. And somehow, for 35 years, the official position has been, we do not know. Now, we can jump in and talk about whatever right now if you want to. The idea was to cause break and let stuff open if we want to. But we kind of been bouncing around. I don't know what happened.
Sorry about that.
You're fine.
Yeah, Sam, every time she sees something, she wants to bark. It's like, dude, you cannot bark.
We are all chasing ghosts.
Yeah. Well, there's, it's just some dude on a bike with lights on it. So.
Well, where are the lights? Are they in the front, back, or on top, or on the sides?
The front. Looks
So-
like somebody's trying to look around with fucking.
Well, no,
Yeah.
that's probably running light. Unless he's moving it now.
No, this is. See, Sam, this is why you stay quiet.
She always likes to announce us to everybody. Somebody's coming back trying to look to see where the barking came from.
Well,
This is why.
maybe they're looking for a dog. Maybe they think there's a dog down in there or something, tied up or whatever. Maybe that.
Well, no, the fact they heard Sam bark and they wanted to come find it because they thought, yeah, they could think that there's something with the dog. And the thing is this is why it's important that you teach, why I keep telling her she's got to shut up because she's going to announce this one day and I'm going to end up in fucking jail for 6 months.
No, you just tell them your stupid friend has you out in the fucking woods doing podcasts.
Huh?
Just tell them your stupid friend has you out in the woods doing podcasts.
Yeah, well, you got to realize it's about the narrative. Kind of like, you remember the story I told you about Herman?
I don't know, man.
So in Herman,
we're starting to get volumes, so catalogs of stories and things that we've talked to about each other. So the things start to blend in and mix together, and I don't know. Go ahead, you're fine.
That tornado warning, it was like a 50-mile-an-hour winds, -5 and snow. Well, I had my tarp up and everything else like that, but the winds took it out, so I fucking took all my stuff down. I brought all I brought my underquilt, my top quilt into the bathroom, and fucking we hunkered in there waiting for the winds to go down, which was supposed to be about 2 o'clock in the morning. Well, about 10 o'clock at night, here comes the police going, "Oh no, you got to get out. We don't care." And the thing is he was so hell bent on labeling me as homeless, even though I'm like, dude, do you see this bag? This is not, and plus I paid to stay here. Okay. And this is what's good. Oh, well, the weather's over. You're homeless. So as long as they can, even though you can sit there and play with them and show them that you're not homeless, their whole thing is if they can prove that you're homeless, then this allows them to involuntarily commit you to send you through this process, like that article I was that I sent you earlier today.
That's for a later time. We'll talk about that one at another junction, probably next week.
Well, I've been talking about it for about a week. So
I know, but hey, like I said, that can get us off topic a lot further than we need to be. I don't want to get that far off topic. I think you need for that. I think I'm going to find the right crowd to get in here for that. I'm going to try something, and
but I realized the disconnect that you and I had when we talked about homelessness, and it's actually kind of helped me open my eyes to see how the rest of the world sees it. So when people think of homeless, they think people living on the streets, but they don't think about the actual government definition. The definition of being homeless means you have no electricity, no running water, no indoor plumbing. You're not getting public services. You're not paying rent. You're not on a lease. So if you're couch surfing, you're homeless. Your kid, by the technical definition, is homeless. A long distance hiker who gives up his lease is homeless. So when we start talking about the homeless population, only a small percentage of them are drug addicts. It's because the public narrative, the rhetoric they're using is only people living on the streets are homeless. But if you look at the actual government definition, it's much broader. Like even living out in my land on Concho, you're considered homeless. Those kids are even considered homeless.
Well, I mean,
because they don't have running water.
I don't know if you're bringing that up, then it's been brought up elsewhere, and it would be interesting to see if that is a conversation other countries have had. I do not know. Like I told you when we talked a while back, I do not know the best solution to fix homelessness. I don't know the best way to address it. And there's the caveat. That's the thing. If you can't figure out how to deal with something, if you're going to try to do stuff that's going to be riddled with scams and cons and
well, that's what's happening now.
I know, but you're the people that should be trying to make it push forward and things like that do not want to, and you're getting.
I'm seeing it firsthand.
I'm just saying I don't know, something needs to change on both sides.
No, I think the thing is that, like I said, the public narrative is if you live on the streets, you're homeless. But the definition is much broader than that. And so, therefore, it creates a confusion in the way in which we're talking about it. Because if we're talking about homelessness, well, then we got to talk about the people living in their off grid property in Arizona and everywhere else throughout the country,
Well, see, that's
or the
another
people
interesting
living in their van.
concept.
But
That's
if we're going
another.
to talk about street people, then we can talk about street people. Because the thing is there's multiple communities, one, and two, it's how are we defining this? Because if we're just only calling people on the streets homeless, well, we've just left out a whole subsection that we publicly now call the working poor instead of homeless.
No, I think it it has to do with like mental health and stuff. I think that's one of the big issues here. I don't know the rest of it.
It's infrastructure. This is
Well, I
this
mean,
is every time they need to build infrastructure, they need cheap labor. There's about a 457,000 man
I know,
shortage on
I know.
construction
Well,
workers.
we'll talk about that. We'll talk about
Yeah,
that later.
sorry. Yeah, I'll
that
let
ain't
that be.
that ain't for tonight. Um, Saturation. Now, and actually, I do have a really good thing to go with that. It's just not 100% ready yet. Um, I got some stories from people that I found a book from when I was out there, and I wrote down a lot of people's stories I met. I would do that. I would go in when I was. I mean, I wasn't that at that time. I wasn't on the internet. Well, I mean, I was, but I wasn't. I mean, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like it was now. And so I would carry around notebooks, have them in my backpack. I would meet somebody, camp with somebody, and I would do what we had done. I would get to know them, talk to them. I would do an interview of some kind, and they would open up and tell me about them, about their families, about what they've been through. Back then I encountered quite a few Vietnam vets. Then the other thing is a lot of the weird stuff and how they looked at the government and how they looked at things. But I think it will be an interesting thing for you to hear because you've not. If you're interested in those stories, I think you should hear their stories. And I think it's time we put them on the internet. But anyway, like my dad, his story didn't get told until I told it. I only told part of it. And he died alone on a park bench in California. But, all of these things could come from people who have disappeared and who have walked. There was this old guy that once told me, he said, wherever you move, wherever you go, wherever you walk, somebody, somewhere, has died there. Did you know that, Tuck? Tuck? Hello?
Yeah, I've always thought that. I've kind of figured that out. Just like everywhere you've walked, somebody's pissed or shit.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you encounter, like I said, most people have died where you stepped, or at least in the general area. And I've always wondered why there ain't more ghosts. Either they got a really good system for getting you to cross over the light, or something else is going on over there. But this
We've talked about it being a whisper.
well, yeah, but I mean, there's some things I can't. Like when if I actually do break down the story, I'm not doing that tonight. But if I actually do break down the stories and stuff, and I try to, if you ask me, you come at me, and you say, Denny, I want a definitive answer how you explain ghosts. If that is your question, you want a definitive answer, and then I go through and I explain what I believe and how I believe and why I believe. And it's long and it's complicated. But I think whispers is the only part of it. I think it is it's something else, something weird. But this kind of reminds me of a story we're getting ready to talk about now.
I knew a guy that he railed against Christianity. I remember a guy who railed against Christianity, but he believed in Christianity because he's like, as being a volunteer first responder, he saw people like walk backwards up a wall and shit like this. Like, you can't explain it. It's fucking
Are you looking at my webcam?
No.
Are you sure?
Why?
Okay. Name of segment 2. Getting ready to start. Is the Demon House of Gary, Indiana. You never been to Gary, Indiana? You don't want to go to Gary, Indiana. If you live in Gary, Indiana, I'm sorry. But there was a DCS worker who watched a 9-year-old walk backward up a wall. I mean, you just were saying backward up against the wall. And that's what I thought, like, this fucking weird. So this story might have some tack or glue, maybe something is mentally guiding you to it. Because November 2011, Gary, Indiana, a woman named Latona Amons moves into a rental house at 3860 Carolina Street, Gary, Indiana, with her mother and her 3 children, ages 7, 9, and 12. Within weeks, large black flies swarmed the screen in porch. In December, in Indiana, they killed them, and they keep coming back in December. Then the footsteps start in the basement. Then the doors open on their own. Then the children's eyes bulge. Their voices drop. They smile in ways their own mother describes as not theirs. The 7-year-old wraps his hand around his older brother's throat and cannot be made to stop. The youngest boy begins describing in detail what it feels like to die. Here's where the story separates from every other possession story you have heard. Latona didn't just call a priest. She called Indiana Department of Child Services. She called the Gary Police Department, and the state investigated. And the state produced hundreds of pages of official records, and those records contain the following statement from a licensed DCS case manager and a registered nurse who were both present at a hospital visit. The 9-year-old boy walked backward up the wall, flipped over his grandmother, and then landed on his feet. A police captain, Captain Charles Austin, officially went on record, stating he believed the mother's account. A priest named Father Michael Maginot, wow, what a name, performed the first exorcism authorized by the bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Gary. Official church sanctioned exorcisms, and after those exorcisms, the activity stopped. However, the house was eventually purchased by Zach Begins from Ghost Adventures. He spent time inside it. He demolished it in 2016. He later said something inside that house had the ability to do things he had never seen before. Things that people with the highest forms of credibility couldn't explain. He would say more than that. He just tore it down. The 200 pages of official state documentation still exist. I can show them to you now. The police reports still exist. I can show them to you now. The DCS report still exists, and I can show that to you now. A nurse signed her name to the statement about the child walking up a wall. Think about that for a minute. Think about what it takes for a medical professional to put that in writing.
That's
Well, how do you feel about that one?
I think that okay. So this was actually recorded. There, what is a possible? What are the scientific explanations that they're giving?
All of these are unexplained, have been rolled and talked about, and they're all like verifiable cases. Like the first one, all of them people who didn't know each other saw this woman float up to a craft in New York. This one right here, multiple people saw these kids behaving and acting the way they did in the house, doing the things that it was doing.
Okay.
And they witnessed this kid walking up backward and flipping
but
over his grandma and landing on his feet.
But what about like the Salem witch trials and like the fucking the whatever the pearl that they had and they all hallucinated shit and all that other stuff? What if there is something that is that these kids are doing or have these people at least in this instance?
Well, the other people would have to done it to see it.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, there's an environmental thing that's in there. It might be a smell. It might.
I don't know. I don't know of any.
Frequency.
I don't know of any environmental thing that allow you to walk backward up a wall.
Oh, well, we don't know really what a human being is capable of. We barely only use 10% of our brain.
Yeah, but if you can walk backward up a wall, flip over somebody, and land on your feet, a kid now. I'm not.
The power of the mind can do that type of stuff. Like, I firmly believe, based upon what I've read, especially what I've read from fucking Meyer, is that if you, although it sounds fucking crazy, your mind, if you have enough balance and control of it to be able to will your own reality, like create your own sandbox. Most of us just stumble across it or have a success, a success here, a success there, but we don't have consistency. But just if you could actually bend your whole world to that, for a kid doing something like that, that would be kind of cool. But it could also be something on a subconscious level. Maybe it might be a more developed spirit. Maybe there was something either in the food or in the environment that may have caused it. It might be something that's unknown. But here's
the thing. The kids can act one way. The kids, like, even if they were pretending or whatever, and let's say they pretended very well, then you would have to
I'm
say.
not saying
I'm just saying. Let's just say they pretended. Let's say they faked it. And let's say they faked it well enough. They fooled other people. But they would have had to fool all of them other people. They would be fooling the police department. They would be fooling the DCS workers. They would be fooling doctors and nurses and
Well,
everything
Christian
like that.
superstition.
Huh?
Christian superstition. Something happens. Ooh, it's the devil.
Well,
Ooh,
I mean,
everybody's heard stories of exorcisms. They could fucking and demons and shit like that. They might be like, oh, I guess it really is real.
I really can't knock that because that's how I actually explained the thing with the guy that was seeing orbs down in North Carolina.
Yeah, confirmation bias.
I mean, I went public on that. I said that because he claimed something was going to happen this past Easter, and he claimed something was going to happen here recently. He even posted a video of an orb, and it supposedly looked like it had been faked and had like some Jewish verses and shit in the bubble and some face. I don't know. I think one of my biggest problems, and this has almost made me quit a number of times. One of my biggest problems with every field, everywhere, when it comes to conspiracies, when it comes to regular games and people's lives and shit like that. What one of the things that bugs me the most, it hurts on some kind of personal level. People are willing to go to the ends of the world to fake shit.
It's for riches and fame.
Well, some of it's not, though. The riches and fame I can understand. It's the people that fake stuff to try to prove their point. People who feel they need to... People who need to sit there and fake this stuff so they can prove their point. And it messes... they may have the point. They may have a good point. And they might be right about it. But when they start faking crap and they start throwing that stuff out there, you mess the whole thing up. It's like the whole UFO world. You got people who so adamantly believe in it that they're making videos and pictures and things like that, and they're saying they're real, and they're not. And people are willing to jump on that and believe it wholeheartedly. And it hurts the whole thing. The whole ability. You waste more time looking at fake stuff than you do real stuff.
Oh, you want up? Yeah. There's money, there's fame, there's deception, there's government influence. Like all the MUFON and all those guys, those are all set up by our own government. It was never a grassroots organization, and then they suppressed it and not disqualified it, but basically made it a mockery of it. To a point to nobody will actually take it serious when it's something that could have been taken serious if they treated it real instead of fucking just anybody that could fake it just good enough to where they could pretend that it was fucking real, they would do it.
Well, news on that right now. The whole thing about aliens. Okay, if you I know you guys have heard, everybody's heard, and I did a video on the last one. But the government's been dumping that new UFO files. Steven Spielberg's got a movie in the works and all that stuff. Well, there's supposed to be a third release of files coming. They thought today, actually. But one of the senators got on there and he started talking, and he was talking about some of the stuff that he kind of saw. So if he's talking about it, I think they're going to release it. And he's not like fully in believing stuff, but he said there are some things we can't explain, and some of the new videos that they're going to release, what they're showing, my understanding what is they say balls of plasma, but they're larger, and they're in city areas, and they're floating and flying around and moving like the ones that we can't explain. I think that this might actually be our first look at whatever it is they're concerned about. What it is, I don't know.
But this is all our stuff.
No, I don't think this one. I don't think this is. I don't think.
We're showing it.
No. Some of it. No. Some of it is our stuff. Some of it absolutely 100% is our stuff. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that there are some things that are not. And um, and I think that's the stuff they'll save for the last, or they won't release at all. The stuff they can't show, or the stuff they can't explain. And I think whatever this is, these plasma things or whatever it is, they're seeing, because this has been a long discussion for a very long time. Actually, I saw a video of this and talked to him too. There's this farmer and his wife up in Canada. They were on the news, and they're filming their cow. It was after a storm, and all of a sudden, this massive ball of plasma just forms out of nowhere and kind of disappears. Well, up until then, we never thought that shit could happen, and it kind of set the stage, and maybe the actual crop circles that we're starting to see, that we have seen, the ones that are real. I'm not talking about the ones that are fake. They're easy fake, but there's some that we can't explain. There's been this resurgence of crop circles. Most of us don't talk about them anymore because you don't know if they're fake or real. But one has surfaced. There's a video set of this woman. She's having her coffee. She's out on the porch. She's filming her field, and it shows this thing going through there and making crop circles. And it is the most logical thing I have. I mean, like, yep, that's how it's done. Some type of, when you start looking at all the work that has been done into studying them and everything else, it makes sense now.
So what it's saying that it's man-made, it's just people doing it?
No. It's not man-made. There's some kind of, like, something in nature is happening that causes these electrical balls of plasma, and I think because of their behavior and the things that they do, the government wonders if there is some type of intelligence to them. Does that make sense?
According to Meyer, they're all fake. These people go to an extreme to do this, to even cover their tracks, but this actually is fake.
On this one, I don't know. I gotta run to the bathroom.
Okay.
Wait, where have you been in? I'm gonna go smoke. Go ahead, do the segue. Guys, when we get back, we're gonna talk about the poltergeist.
All right, I'll bore everybody for about 5 minutes.
Oh, God.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the humor. I know my humor is a little weird, but oh well. It comes with the territory. Anyways, I'm Friar Tuck, for those of you who don't know me. I cover homelessness, education, awareness, or actually education, survival, and policy. So, Samantha Marie, shut up. Sorry, my dog is a snitch, and she's gonna get me thrown in jail because she can't keep her mouth shut. If you ever have to bug out or anything else like that, make sure you have a dog that knows how to shut the fuck up. Samantha, come over here. Now, come here. Come here. Come here. Now. Right here. Hang out on this. Not on my shit, dude. Over here. There you go. So, me and my dog, we are best friends, but we fight like husband and wife. So, when you guys hear it, just understand that it's said with a tiny bit of real spit and fire, and maybe and the rest of it said in love. So, but anyways, I've been covering the criminalization of homelessness. That's part of what we've been talking about tonight. And if you guys want to get more, like, you want to kind of get an understanding of what's going on, I'm doing an actual series on it. I talked about there's two models that started. Okay, way back when there was a communist commune that was successful in the Ohio River Valley. They wrote Thomas Jefferson a letter, and they said, "Hey, you should institute the this communist government as the American government, because look at how efficient it is, and look at how good our society is."
And Jefferson wrote back, he said, that's all well and good, but, the great thing about our union is that each state can experiment on its own, and if it's successful, the other states will pick it up, will adopt it via competition. And if it doesn't, it'll die there and not infect the rest of the union and become bad policy. Well, and so cities and states are always experimenting with different ways in which they can handle the homeless population. And since certain court decisions have been passed, things have changed in the things in which they think that they can do. And so now what they're doing is they're going directly after the homeless person by trying to incarcerate them and send them into indentured servitude. There's a reason why we as a society actually abolished it. And so this is what I'm talking about right now. If you guys are interested in this topic, want to know a little bit more about it, come on over and check out some of my content.
I am now nicotined up and THC up. So.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what it is. I mean, for some reason, I like to talk about when I sample the leaf. I like to really talk about like poltergeist and fucking aliens and creepy ass shit. And I think it has something to do with the first time a bunch of people ever got me high. It was on Halloween. But I'll tell that story one day. But anyway, now the reason this next story belongs here, the past two, everything I'm going to tell you tonight, the graveyard thing coming up, all of these are unverifiable. All of them had witnesses. And no one has been able to logically disprove them. So, now, what we're going to start off with is, this is the Enfield poltergeist. She levitated off of the bed. 11 witnesses saw it. The police filed a report. Now, the police filed a report. We'll get into it. August 1977. A council house in Enfield, North London. A single mother named Peggy Hodgsons and her 4 children. It starts the way it always starts. Furniture moving, knocking on walls, and then things flying across the room. Peggy calls the police. A police constable named WPC Carolyn Heaps watches a chair move across the floor on its own. She puts it in her official report. She signs her name to it. She signs a report that says she watched a chair move across the floor. Investigators arrive. SPR researchers, journalists. Eventually, the case researchers, Guy Lynn Playfair and Maurice Gross, spends more than a year documenting the events in the house. The children, particularly a 12-year-old girl named Janet Hodgsons, begin to be thrown from their beds, levitating. They were photographed mid-air by a Daily Mirror photographer who was there on assignment. The photographs exist. None of them have been edited. Then it gets stranger. It seems like stuff like this happens to a family or to you or whatever. It seems the things begin to escalate, regardless of what they are. And you see things, you hear things, things move. But things always almost always get worse. Janet begins speaking in a voice that is not hers, a deep, rasping man's voice, who identified himself as Bill. Bill says he died in the house. Bill describes how he died. A brain hemorrhage, Bill says. In a downstairs living room, in his chair, investigators track down the previous tenant. They find the man's son. The son confirms his father died in that house, downstairs, of a brain hemorrhage in that chair. Bill had never been named in any published account of the case before that conversation. Over 14 months of investigation, more than 30 witnesses documented anxieties, activities, including journalists, police officers, and paranormal investigators. Objects flew across the room. Books opened and closed. Water burst from the floor. They recorded hours of audio, including the voice of Bill. Janet was tested by a voice and medical specialist. No evidence of fraud was found in the physical evidence. The case remains nearly 50 years later the most extensively documented poltergeist investigation in modern history. Janet is now in her 60s. She still doesn't fully understand what happened to her. She says she never pretended. She says she couldn't have faked most of it. And she says that she's never felt entirely alone in a room since. I don't think I would either. A friend. No, I find the Enfield case so disturbing, not because of the levitation of the furniture. It's the voice. It's that a dead man spoke through a 12-year-old girl and named himself and described how he died, and he was right. Whatever the explanation you reach for, be it psychological, neurological, or fraudulent, none of them account for that. None of them account for Bill speaking through that 12-year-old, naming himself, describing how he died, and he was right. The details match. The witness signed their names and nobody, not the SPR, not the police, not 50 years of skeptical researchers have been able to close this file. So here's where we are. A Manhattan housewife floating through closed windows in front of 23 people, and nobody explains it. A 9-year-old boy walking up a wall in a hospital in front of a nurse and a social worker, and they put it in the official statement. And the 12-year-old girl in North London council home let a dead man speak through her. And he knew things he couldn't have known. If you're listening to this, you're carrying something. We all are. We all carry grief. We miss somebody. We think about them all the time. And if you're listening to programs like this, then I know something bad happened at some point. Maybe not today. Maybe tomorrow. Or maybe you saw something. But one day, you will want to call into the show and tell me. Now, that's the primer of tonight. And me and Tuck's going to talk a little bit. And then we're going to get into the meat of the story. doesn't involve demons, ghosts, and aliens. The meat of the story involves your neighbors, your friends, your family, people you see every day, people who work in cities, people who bury our dead. Now, anyway, what do you think about that one?
I was just thinking, are we becoming cannibals? Because the meat is our family and our friends and our neighbors. I mean, I thought we liked cows.
Oh, well, okay, here's the thing. No, here's the thing. There's no way. There is no way for us to become cannibals. Now. And it has to deal with alpha-gal syndrome, the ticks. Because if people were eating people knowingly or unknowingly, then alpha-gal would infect them, trigger them. Either way, they'd get it. So, because once alpha-gal gets into our food supply the way it is, and we know it sticks around in humans, and I'm sure, there's no case report on this or case study, that you will transmit from one to another. And then
We already have tribes of cannibals.
Yes, we do. But I mean, that they're fine.
How are they
now.
able to survive and you're saying we're not? That doesn't make
No,
sense.
I'm saying is if everyone gets alpha-gal, then you won't be able to be cannibals anymore.
Oh, okay. So then we can't eat each other because
We
some
got
bacteria
infected
fucked.
before, yeah.
Yeah, they wanted to get rid of us. Instead of getting rid of us, they just ensured that we'd fucking survive. Yay, us!
I mean, if you think about it, all of the preppers, all of the groups that say what will happen after people are out here after some type of event, as we were calling it, the event, whatever the event. From now on, it will be anything that has to do with the end of time in this channel will be labeled as the event.
Well, that's going to be a few thousand years.
Yeah, I'm just saying we're waiting on the event, and whatever the event is, and that's it. If the event is I'm not going. Oh God, I shouldn't say solar storm. Oh, I need to talk about that. Holy hell, I almost forgot. That's what conversation is good for. It pops things in your mind that you forgot to write down. We just had solar storms back to back. Let it pop, pop, pop. And they've been getting a lot worse. The sun is supposed to be out of the solar cycle, but it's not. It's
Yeah, one of my subscribers was telling me about something like it only made it down to like central Pennsylvania as far as like the Aurora Borealis or whatever.
Yeah, I mean
there was supposed to be something special with the sun last night.
Yeah, it was. It come down. There was more. It was back to back things, but we found out that, and this is semi-official. We found out that those things can be targeted.
What do you mean?
Well, dependable on where they hit our atmosphere. Like if they hit this last one. Well, you still got two more coming, but this last one hit exactly over Jamaica. And every computer, every phone, the power system, all went offline. They got zapped.
Was it like EMP force?
Don't know. I mean, but it did. The only thing it can come up with is it comes from the sun. But anyway, right now they're kind of like struggling and rushing to get everything back on, and they're having a time of it. Now, this isn't the only time this has happened. This has happened in the UK, not UK, out in that area, Europe.
I wonder if it's used as cover, but it's actually a weapon.
It could be.
So, well, this
I wonder who's nuking the Jamaicans.
Hey, you know what? We cannot have competition in the Western Hemisphere. Or actually, Jamaica's in Africa.
Yes.
I don't know.
All they do down there, man, is
those Africans need to give us the resources, and they need to quit complaining.
All they do down there in Jamaica is smoke weed, grow weed, and
they do more than that.
I know. I was going in for a joke here, but
shit.
you're screwing it up. But okay, never mind.
Sorry, go try it again.
Nah, I can't. It's real now. It's all your fault. The reason why you're not going to hear a wonderful funny about Jamaica is because Tuck messed it up.
Yeah, see,
blame him.
now I get to be the butt of your joke.
Boo, boo.
All right. Oh, you know what? It's kind of weird here. People here in DC. Okay, so at least once a week I gotta fly a sign. And I've been trying the hey, ask me about homeless policy, and people won't talk to me. And I'm like, hey, 25 years of traveler, as a nomad, ask me anything. Nobody will do anything. I finally go back to my sure sell, like the one that I know always works no matter where I'm at. Too ugly to prostitute. And that's what changed my fucking day around, man. So, the people here.
But I'm wondering the legalities on that, though. I'm wondering if.
No, I'm not soliciting. I'm making a statement.
I know, but. Yeah.
The full sign originally was too ugly to prostitute and too honest to steal. That was the original, but a lot of people just shorten it to too ugly to prostitute, and everybody always smiles at it, laughs.
How many of those signs do you see?
What, too ugly to prostitute?
Yeah.
Oh, I've probably seen it once or twice. I know the guy that showed me it, and then I've heard other people talk about it, so it is known. But most people are kind of tools, and they just keep flying this. Woe is me, need help, anything helps, thanks, God bless. Dude, people want to be entertained. If you entertain them and they smile, they'll drop you more. You'll have better interaction. You got to be an entertainer. You can't be a beggar. People don't like beggars.
Yeah, but I think we're all beggars to some degree, really. I mean,
we are, but still, if I'm begging for your money, I might as well give you something in return other than fucking sorrow.
Yeah, but all right. Hell, the whole thing is misery loves company, and I mean, like I said, we are a weird species. We look at things that way, and people do like to hear miserable things. They do like to hear, like some of the. If you were to go back and track down all of the smut magazines from the 50s and 40s and the old cop novels and newspapers from the 40s and 50s and 60s. And I got stacked up. I mean, including Fate magazine. There's them things. I mean, I got a whole wall of these in there. And these go way back. And
Come here, sir.
Man, I got them everywhere. I got Fate magazines everywhere. This is probably the only house you would find like that. Anyway, these are just sitting in here. But there's always something weird to read, and it's always stuff that hasn't been tainted with the modern day.
Yeah, things kind of started going sour around the mid '90s, because like Lee Ropes and his stuff. Like up until probably about 2010, 2015, you could find his stuff. Now it's been completely scrubbed off the internet. There even used to be an archive of his stuff, and that's because he finally died. And so they scrubbed all of his shit off the internet.
What about the Wayback Machine?
Dude, Freedom School is usually where you used to be able to find Lee Broke shit. And like that's how I got entered into the free man stuff. Was him. I mean, and he wrote a newsletter called Eye of the Eagle circa 8990. And it was on Freedom School. And if you did a search for it, usually people know it for USA, a Republic, the house that no one lives in. But that's the final article in 2 years of writing, and that's the final rant. It makes no sense to somebody who, if that's all you're reading, but if you read his 2 years, it makes so much more sense because now you understand the arguments. Because each like it's 12 pages of nothing but fucking case law. I mean, it took me forever to read that shit. It broke my brain a little bit. But
I did tell you when I come back from the doctor, they got a drug now that can fix me, right?
yeah, you were telling me about that. It might work.
All right, and well, they got to do a lot of stuff to prep up for it. I mean, they got to, they give me a shot once a month, and it changes my genetic structure. And today, I was outside, and I got a message. And man, my brain was not there. I don't know what I was thinking, but it says the genetic test your healthcare provided was ordered and is in progress. And I mean, I was scratching my head. I was like, what fucking genetic test had I been scheduled for? I didn't know I was getting a genetic test. Like normally,
if they're gonna give you a shot like that, they gotta make sure that it's not gonna fuck you up.
oh, I mean, hell, they giving me all kinds of stuff, man. They literally, like, back when like I wasn't first diagnosed. It was the first time they actually come up with this weird drug to help me. It was like another weird drug. And that's the shit that made me feel like I was a teenager. That's what I hope this does. I hope this, I mean, they could give me the other stuff, but they got to give me so much of it. But this other thing apparently fixes whatever that issue is. And, I don't know, it'd be fucking cool. But I mean, the whole genetic thing is got me a little woogie for a little bit.
They've got to modify your genetics in order to cure you of it.
But isn't that wild how far medicine's come like that? Isn't it like oh God, I mean, you think about medicine. When I think about medicine, like when I was going to school and stuff, and they didn't, there was hardly anyone talking about fucking genetic modifications and shit like that. And it just makes me realize how close and how far we have moved into the future. And thank you, Sunflower. I'm glad you found it. I'm glad you found it creepy. Yeah. And tonight's stream is creepy in another way. Like I said, I'm getting ready to talk about the graveyards. I guess we'll walk into it. I mean, might as well. There's breaking points. I'm gonna need breaks in here anyway. So here we go. Now we're gonna start off with a quote, and this comes from Cooks County, Illinois. The first thing they teach you in burial is the ground remembers everything. The second thing is that most people are counting on it forgetting. And the next one is the body is not the person. Everyone says at funerals. No one believes it. Man, I just touched Charlie's leg and it felt like a finger. Oh, God. Anyway. Okay. There is an industry built entirely on one assumption. The assumption is you will never check. You will never come back. You will never dig. You will take the urn home, put it on the mantle, and grieve. And the grieving will be so large and so consuming that the question of what is actually inside that urn was simply, didn't occur to you. And for some people, Most of the time, that's exactly what happens, which is why the industry works. I want to talk to you tonight about what happens to us after we die. Not spiritually, not philosophically. I mean physically, materially. The moment your body is no longer yours. The moment it belongs to the people you have left behind. And then, a few hours later, the moment it belongs to strangers. I want to talk to you about what those strangers have done with it. Some of what I'm going to tell you is documented court record. Some of it is investigative reporting. Some of it is history. The kind that gets taught in medical schools, but not any other schools. All of it is real. The original problem. Let's start in London in 1811. A man named Joseph Naples kept a diary. He is not a notable man. He is not an educated man. He is what the era calls a resurrectionist. I can't talk. My mouth is dry.
Reconstructionist?
Yes, reconstructionist. I knew it would come out to some degree. I don't know. I'm looking at the word. I'm like, what did I write? What did I write? I'm trying to pronounce it. Maybe it was like a mini stroke or something. Who knows? Which is the word that makes it sound almost holy. If you don't know what it means. What it means is he dug up bodies and sold them. He is not alone. During the 19th century, body snatching in Britain has become an organized profession. There are gangs, there are territories, there are prices, standards, negotiable, seasonal. A fresh adult corpse fetches roughly 8 to 10 guineas. Children are sold by the inch. The buyers are medical schools. The act of 1540 permitted dissection, but only of executed criminals, which produced, in a good year, fewer than 100 bodies naturally. Nowhere near enough for the number of students trying to learn what the human body works, or how the human body works. So the schools looked the other way, and a man like Joseph Naples dug. His diary is a matter of fact. He writes about the weather. He writes about how many subjects he moved that week. He writes about being cold. He writes, went to St. Thomas, got 3 and 1 small. He does not appear to experience moral distress. He appears to experience primarily back pain. The families of the dead, meanwhile, kept vigils by gravesides. They hired night watchmen. They built iron cages, what they called mort safes, bolted over plots to hold coffins down. You can actually still see these across America in London, in UK. Wealthy family buried in lead-lined caskets. Poor families buried in whatever they could afford, which was often. It was always the poor. It was always the poor. Burke and Hare. The Rosicrucianists men kept digging until they ran out of patience for digging. William Burke and William Hare. They didn't rob graves. They found a more efficient solution. Between January and October of 1828, they murdered 17 people. Lodgers, acquaintances, strangers, a woman, and her mute grandson, and sold the bodies to a doctor by the name of Robert Knox. Knox paid well and asked no questions. The bodies were fresh. That was the point. Burks was hanged. Hare turned crown witness and went free. Knox was never charged. His career suffered somewhat. He continued teaching. The Burke and Hare cases produced that act of 1832, which gave medical schools access to unclaimed bodies for workhouses, the paupers, the homeless, the friendless dead, and that almost ended those men. The industry found other solutions. I got to run the bathroom. This is the break thing.
Okay, so I guess I am searching for my vape. I've been searching for it while he's been talking. You know, the thing about staying in a hammock versus a tent is sometimes you don't get to stay that organized. Even though you try and stay organized, you can't necessarily stay. So I've been sitting here searching for about a good 15 minutes for my vape. So if any of you guys have seen it, could you tell me where I put it?
What? You did what now?
I misplaced my vape. I don't know if I can, dealing with Sam, you know, I found it. Yeah. Alright, yeah, I was dealing with Sam. I fucking dropped it when I went down to go hang out with her. So, okay, I found it. Thanks for your help, guys. All right, are
Who
you
helped
back?
you? Who helped you?
Oh, y'all help me. Just the power of suggestion.
Man, I didn't know what the fuck you were doing. I went to go take a leak.
Oh, come on! You're supposed to take credit for it. You're like, I don't know what I did, but I'll take credit for it. You know?
I can get you in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
now we talked about London and England, and we talked about all that right there a little bit. I bet there's a lot more you can go into about that. You can go. There's Netflix documentaries. There's History Channel things where they talk about them. That's the first time I ever heard of those types of history. It was the History Channel. But we need to flash forward to now. America in the 21st century has a $700 billion death industry. Funeral homes, cemeteries, cremation services, casket manufacturers, flower delivery, grief counseling, headstone engravers, and threaded all through it quite an enormous the tissue procurement industry, which takes parts of the dead and sells them legally to hospitals, to medical device companies, to dental labs, and cosmetic surgeons. It is, when it works correctly, a genuinely good public good. You know, donated tissue save lives, donated cornea restore sight, donated bones let cancer patients keep their limbs when it works correctly. But it's not been working correctly. Noble, Georgia. A man named Gerald Cook is a propane delivery driver. He has a route he doesn't like. He's avoided it before. Something about the property makes him uneasy. But today, he was assigned to it. He delivered to the Tri-State Crematorium in Noble, Georgia, a small community in the northwest corner of the state. Gerald finds the propane tank, and on the way back to his truck, he sees something he cannot immediately categorize. Something on the ground. Several somethings. He calls it in. On February 15th, 2002, investigators arrive at the Tri-State Crematorium. And what they found will take weeks of fully catalogs 339 bodies scattered across the property, in buildings, in ponds, in the woods surrounding the facility, some in coffins, some not, some barely recognizable, some reduced to scattered remains. Not a single one of them had been cremated. The families of these people had received urns. Urns contained ash. Investigators would later determine that the ash was, in most cases, not human. It was concrete powder. It was kitty litter. It was whatever Brent Marsh, the man who had been running the place since his father's health decline, had found convenient. Brett, at some point after taking over the business, stopped cremating bodies. The exact reason was never definitively established. The retort, the cremation furnace had mechanical problems. That was one explanation. But the furnace could have been repaired. It wasn't. Instead, Marsh simply placed the bodies elsewhere on the property and kept sending urns. He was convicted, sentenced to 12 years. The question of why, the interior logic of it, the psychological mechanism by which a person decides to do this and then continues doing it for years, was never satisfactorily answered. We don't always get to know why. Brooklyn, 2005. Michael is a formal oral surgeon. He lost his dental license after a string of complaints, operating while impaired, among other things. He needed a new business. He found one. Biomedical Tissue Services, Fort Lee, New Jersey. His company offered a legitimate service. It would pay funeral homes a standard fee, about $1,000 per body, to legally harvest tissues from donors who had consented, or whose families had consented. Skin for burn victims, bones for procedures, and heart valves. The legitimate version of the business exists. His version was not the legitimate version. When investigators entered the Brooklyn funeral home in 2006, they found an upstairs room that had been converted into a surgical suite. They found cut cadavers. They found harvesting bones. They found human hearts removed from chest. They found in the refrigerator samples that would later be identified as belonging to people who had absolutely no consent of being there or doing this. In all this, him and his associates had taken tissue from about 1,077 bodies at funeral homes across New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. They had falsified death certificates, changed age, altered the cause of death to make the tissue more sellable. A woman who died of cancer became on paper a woman who died of a heart attack. A 95-year-old man become on paper an 85-year-old man.
Oops.
The 95-year-old man was Alistair Cook, the host of Masterpiece Theater. His bones were sold. They were used in at least 10,000 surgical procedures performed by doctors who had no idea. After the tissue was removed, the bodies were reassembled, bones replaced with PVC pipe, gaps filled. The bodies sutured back up to look normal for the funeral, for an open casket, for the family standing there saying goodbye. They looked normal because someone had taken the time to make them look normal. He was sentenced to 58 years. He died in prison of cancer in 2013. The parts he had sold were already inside the bodies of strangers. Some of those strangers may have gotten sick. Some almost certainly did. The FDA issued a public health notice. They recommended that anyone who had received tissue from that company be tested for HIV, hepatitis, and syphilis. 10,000 people. 10,000 people. A letter arriving at 10,000 homes. Can you imagine?
That's just crazy.
No. Oh yeah. And I mean, these are some of these you would. I mean, I just picked a few of them that interest me or out of the air, but this is going on. There's a crematorium up where you are right now, and it was a funeral home in a above ground vault, and it was abandoned. Still is. The city don't know what to do with it. There's been vandalization and stuff like that. I almost sent you over there, but I don't want to put you through it. There's video of caskets being broke and everything else, and the city won't do anything about it. They just closed it off a little bit. There's not a whole lot of care for a dead.
Well, I honestly think that fucking either turn them into fucking fertilizer or something, because the memories of them are all you need to keep with you. The body, if you're gonna sit there and I think that's I think that our laws are restrictive on this to a point where it's not, it doesn't work.
Well, I mean, it doesn't work because people are not doing initially what the other people wanted them to do. They know it, they feel it, they can whatever they need to accept or do. They believe that, let's say your family, let's say you bury your father in the ground and everything else, and then you hear something like this, and they go back out there and dig him up and find out his bones have been replaced with PVC pipe. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that just, it doesn't matter how much you grieved and come back off of. I mean, that's like being hit in the head with not with a frying pan, but with a hot one.
I tried to give my mom's body away to science, and they're like, "No, you had to go through." And they fucking made it such a hassle that my aunt came in, and I never even got to go to the funeral.
I mean, my mom, her body was supposed to be donated to science. That's what she said, and she even had it written on paper and stuff like that. And I mean, Mom was dying. Her liver had turned. It had honeycombs, and do what?
Huh?
Okay.
What happened?
Misty, she comes in the chat sometimes.
Yeah, I know who she is.
She says Friar Tuck is Sam Altman, a.k.a. Quinn Michaels. And then she says, prove me wrong. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to prove him wrong that way.
Yeah. Dude, she's just fucking having some fun.
I know. That's what it looks like. Anyway, I was fine. Yeah. She's normally good.
Yeah, she comes over to my chat and says hi. And listens. So, yeah, I know who she is. Yeah. That's why I'm like, she's probably, because she's seen me. She knows I'm fucking not Sam Altman.
Well, I think she's just screwing with you. I mean, yeah, she's,
yeah, I know.
But anyway, I just said it because it was funny,
Yeah.
I mean, if I thought it was something else, I wouldn't say it. But now we need to get to the ground. This is a quote from Cook County Sheriff Tim Dart on 2009. Once it became clear that there was criminal activity here, when these crimes were committed with the inability to find out. Didn't make a lot of sense when I first read it. This story is wild. And this has just been discovered. Well, no, the one before after. Anyway, we're going to talk about the Burr Oak Cemetery that sits in Illinois, just outside of Chicago. It was founded in the early 20th century as one of the only cemeteries in Chicago area to accept black burials. This is not a small detail. In the first half of the 20th century, as black families migrated north from the deep south, they brought with them the dead, the bones and memories, the grandparents, the children lost in the middle passage of poverty and upheaval. Burr Oaks was one of the few places that would take them. It becomes something close to sacred. Emmett Till was buried there. The 14-year-old boy whose murder in Mississippi in 1955 and whose open casket chosen by his mother so the world could see what had been done to her son. Helped ignite the civil rights movement. His grave is there. Blues singers. Washington is there. Willie Dixon is there. Heavyweight boxers are there. And between 2003 and 2009, the grounds foreman and several employees dug up somewhere between 200 and 400 of the graves. They used backhoes. They broke open caskets. They removed the remains, some intact, sometimes scattered, and they dumped them in unused sections of the cemetery's northern edge. A mass graved, unmarked, piled with bones of people who had been given proper burials by people who saved for them, and then they resold the plots. They sold them to new families, grieving families who paid for a plot in Burr Oak, because that was the kind of place you buried someone who mattered. And they buried the people on top of someone else's people, and no one had told them. The scheme ran for 6 years before a tip reached the Cook County Sheriff's Office. He later said, "I didn't believe it at first because it seemed so outrageous. You just couldn't imagine people doing something like that." But they had. When investigators raided the cemetery in July 2009, hundreds of families began arriving, standing at plots that might or might not contain the one they loved. Unable to know, in some cases, the bones had become moved so many times and scattered so throughout the cemetery that identification was impossible. And in some cases, remains found as recently as 2024 is still being traced. Here's the thing. The moss. The problem, legally with time. The four suspects, Towns, Nix, his other brother Nix, and Daly, had a defense. The desecration, they claimed, had happened before they worked there. Whatever was found in the northern field, whatever bones were scattered, and whatever patterns, none of it happened on their watch. They didn't do it, they said. The prosecution needed to prove this. A forensic anthropologist named Dr. Anna Greer was excavating a reburled site when she found, mixed in with the remains, was two botanical specimens, a tree root, and a small clump of moss. She believes, or believed at the time, these might be able to speak as the question of time. She contacted the Field Museum in Chicago, another botanist, who by his own account is a fan of detective shows, received a call from the FBI asking if he could identify a fragment of a plant material and tell them how long it had been in the ground. About 2 fingers. That's how big it was. The specimen contained pocket moss and found approximately 8 inches below the surface, buried with the remains. They used chlorophyll fluorescent analysis to measure how much photosynthetic activity remained in the preserved cells. If you don't remember from school, cells run on the green energy. To estimate how long the moss had been underground. And it was approximately 2 to 3 years. The defendants were claiming that the crimes predated their employment. The moss said otherwise. The moss placed the disturbance squarely within the period that they were working there. The FBI, the former FBI agent said, there's a reason she's former, because I don't think she could handle it afterward. This was key to securing convictions of these people. A fingernail-sized piece of plant material buried with somebody's discarded bones in the back of a historical black cemetery become the thing that that defeated a cover story that nearly worked. Towns was sentenced to 12 years. She admitted to stealing more than 100,000. Nix received 6 years, and his brother received 3. Emmett Till's casket was found in a garage behind a cemetery office, under a tarp. That is a sentence that I'm going to let it be a sentence. Now, I want to tell you about the largest funeral company in North America. But before I do, I want to ask Tuck something. How do you see like the hardcore homeless deal with the dead?
What do you mean?
I mean, like any special like behaviors, any special
Sometimes you'll have the drama queens that wanna bring everybody together, and then make it about themselves, of course. You'll have people that will talk, like they'll tell stories of you and stuff like that. But past that, it's like the ambulance comes and gets the body.
True.
And most people, I mean, most of the people that I know that have died out there are generally like, one guy was an alcoholic and he just froze to death. Some people, gave themselves a needle.
Right. I'm sorry. I was being distracted. I don't. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm gonna run through this part. Service Corporation International (SCI) operates under the brand name Digital Memorial or Dignity Memorials. They got a digital memorial thing now, apparently. It controls approximately 1,400 funeral homes and nearly 500 cemeteries across the United States and Canada. Its annual revenue is in the billions. It is a publicly traded company you may have used without knowing you use them, because Memorial doesn't always advertise the parent company. In 2001, SCI was hit with a class action lawsuit. The allegations that funeral homes in the chain have desecrated burial vaults, oversold cemetery plots, removed bodies from grave sites, and dumped them in the woods. That is the company had in at least one Florida facility. Used backhoes. Remains had been scattered in a field of wild hogs. That grave had been double stacked. 2 coffins in one plot, without families being told. The case settled in 2003 for $100 million. The SCI didn't admit wrongdoing. The SCI continue operating. It still operates. It has continued settling cases on similar grounds in the years since. And here's what I want you to understand about the structure. The death industry operates in the zone of near zero oversight. The Federal Trade Commission enforces something called the funeral rule, which requires funeral homes to provide itemized pricing. It is not well enforced. Its own studies have found that 1 in 4 funeral homes are in violation. The funeral rule does not generally apply to cemeteries. After you hand over your loved one body to strangers, there is almost no systematic mechanism by which you will find out what happens next. You will receive an urn or a receipt. You will grieve the assumption of which the entire industry rests. It is that you will never check who's in the bottle or who's in the ground. Birkenhire knew this. Britt Marsh knew this. That Michael guy knew this. The employees at Burr Oak Cemetery knew this. The employees of SCI knew this. And it is not new knowledge. It is very old knowledge.
My thing is there's got to be a reason why they haven't had oversight. Just like when house cleaning is very minimally, it really isn't even regulated. But as soon as you go into the commercial side, it starts getting regulated. There's a reason for that. You don't need to regulate certain things because people have certain chemicals that they want to do and stuff like that. Like, I think that this is the way that they've always done it. And now all of a sudden we're just virtue signaling like we should be appalled or something.
All right. I mean, it could be. I don't know, but there's some very weird stuff. I mean, it's because the body is vulnerable, not because of what it is, but because of what it represents. The last physical trace of a person that can't speak for themselves, and the grief of living with that kind of paralysis, the paralysis of that kind of opportunity, the opportunity as we know it tends to get taken.
I guess is how you actually see death is how yeah. Because like I look at death as like, okay, the body's used. It's just like an old shirt. You're gonna throw it in the trash. Let it recycle.
But,
Whatever.
Whole cities, whole towns are built on the aspect that your family will be there, living there. They won't ever. I don't know.
It's not possible. It's just like your money being sound. It's not possible.
No, a lot of people don't like to do funerals because they think it wastes money. They don't like to build vaults because they think it wastes money. But to somebody, it does matter.
Yeah, but those are people that are still holding on that refuse to like.
No, there's people who hold on to the idea and premise of family, the idea and premise of leaving. If you can't leave yourself another piece of yourself behind. That's what I was talking about. Like you go back to like YouTubers and things and influencers. And they can get millions of views. They can be like Mr. Beast. But in 10, 20 years, no one's going to remember them. And that's the same way with actors and people in Hollywood and everywhere else, the billionaires. They want to leave something to be remembered by. They want to leave something that their name can be remembered by. You know, Elon Musk wants to be the one to go to Mars. You know, if we can't continue having a civilization on Mars, then everyone's going to remember Musk. You know, and so on. That's just the way the whole thing is set up, and that is the reason why we have people putting bodies in the ground with big ass tombstones.
But the body is not going to do anything. It's the
Well, it doesn't have
name
anything to do with the body. It's the body's a symbol.
Yeah,
the body is a symbol.
It's an organic matter.
But if you steal the symbol that you believe in, that makes everything okay, then you have a problem in that person's psyche. So I mean, you know, I don't know. But
we have different views on this one.
I mean, this is just the general view and the reason we have cemeteries. I mean, I think that people should honor and respect and protect their dead. I think it is the moral thing to do. I think you should take care of your elderly, your children, or whatever, regardless. If you're alive, then you should take care of them.
But this has roots in like early Christianity when people used to like embalm.
Oh no, it has roots. It has roots into the Christians used to let their bodies lay outside. This goes all the way back to pagans and Samaria. This is original ideas and concepts and things. I mean, it's the reason why people in Egypt built pyramids and other things. This is important to the basis human mind. And I mean,
but the thing is, you're supposed to bury them in the ground, not in a casket. But just that way the worms can eat them and they become part of the earth. You know,
that is the whole recycling bit. Now, I'm not saying. I mean, but you're confusing the concept with the way it is now and the way it will be, or the way it isn't. But this is the basic human psyche, the reason we do it, and the why this matters to people. I mean, this is.
I guess I just don't understand it.
Yeah, I mean, now this goes back to the forensic biologist thing. And I mean, like I said, now there's a lot of talk about how people are using plants to solve crimes, like they use the moss thing. But the earth doesn't forget. The earth doesn't forget what we do. Now, the families of this cemetery are still identifying remains. There are bones that have not been matched. There are people who still do not know where their grandmother is, or where they buried her, or somewhere in that field at the north end of the cemetery. No, they don't know. That is the damage that does not have forensic solutions. And that is a wound the plant, the moss, could never speak to. The legal case is closed. The conviction stands. The sentence were served. But the families are still there, still visiting. Some of them, not certain who they're looking down at. We give our dead to strangers. We do this because we have to. We're made to. We're forced to. Because of grief does not let us function. Because of the logistics of death that permit the preparation, the placement, and requires people who know how to do them are the people that are not us. You can't just dig a hole in the ground and stick somebody in there now. We hand them over, we write checks, we accept the urn, or we accept the receipt. We plant the flowers, and we visit on anniversaries. We try not to think about what we can't verify. Most of the time, the strangers do what we paid them for. Well, most of the time. Once again, I'd like to thank you guys for coming by the show. I didn't think we'd get any call-ins. As I said, I didn't advertise the thing. I kind of got lazy this afternoon. I got to playing with my kid and got to thinking about some things. Tomorrow, we're going to do a story that has to do with the mist, the fog. And yes, Virginia, there are monsters in the fog. There are monsters in the mist. Verifiable ones. Anyway, that is tonight's show. If you want to say bye to everybody, but stay on.
Yeah, no, I'm trying not to fall asleep.
I know. Like I said, I'm getting ready to cut the show, but I want you to stay on the mic. Don't hang up yet.
Oh, okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, stay paranoid, my friends. We will see you tomorrow. Not sure when. I may come on early again. Well, I may not early again. I may come on early Sunday. I think I'm going to run all the videos for the Lego story. It's starting to get interesting. Anyway, we'll talk later.